Hey, welcome to Compassion Masters TV, where we share our lives because you matter. We're your host. I'm Miss Toy, here with my son Layton.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks again for another episode.
Son, I don't know if you know, but I looked this morning. We have 25 subscribers. That don't sound like a lot to some people, but it sounds like a million to me because 25 people are welcoming us into their home.
For sure.
They know when we want to put up a show, they're being alerted. So
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I know it does sound funny, and I laughed, but people have been asking about it. And when is it? When are you posting again? And
right.
And so that's nice to want people to. Well, it's not just a one-time thing. They're expecting the next one the next week. What time do we tune in? When can we expect new episodes?
Yeah.
So that's exciting for sure. We appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah. So cheers to 25 subscribers. So last week we talked about different ways that you could overcome adversities. Today in chapter 8 and 9 is when me and your dad committed a robbery and I drove the getaway car.
You guys both committed robbery. You always try and cut yourself out and say you did. Okay,
I did.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, okay. Well, how did you feel when I came to you and told you that?
I mean, I was bummed for sure. Like, I didn't want to know that my mom did that. But then, I guess it's kind of funny afterwards. Not cool, but like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it was funny.
Around or something. I don't know. I guess, bittersweet, I guess. Good because you realize that your parents aren't perfect and you don't. Sometimes you feel like they are and that you have big shoes to fill and they don't make mistakes or they've never done anything wrong or like a big mistake like that one you never expect it. So it's bittersweet, of course. But I mean, now it's like, we have our own problems. Everyone's gotten in trouble before. Yeah. Some's been public, some's been private. Right. But when you choose to share it with not even just your children, but just people around you, then it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. You learn more about them. You realize they're not perfect. I think it's way better realizing someone's not perfect. Yes. Than thinking they're just this. This God or goddess.
And I'll get in that a little bit later with your grandparents, who you never really got a chance to meet. But that's a reality that I agree with you on, that we should be. We don't have to. Everybody parent the way you want to parent.
Right.
But I chose to be more of a realistic person and share my flaws so that you didn't think I was just so good, all the time.
Right.
So we're going to get into chapter 8 and chapter 9, which chapter 8 is when me and your father we both commit the robbery.
Stop trying to cut yourself out and say, I was just a driver.
Okay, we both commit the robbery. I drove the getaway car.
And they've gotten in trouble more than that, so I don't even know why you're trying to act like, he was the main one.
To the folks that didn't know that about me, I'm encouraging you to never give up on anybody, because as you guys can see, now I've been a registered nurse for 35 years, and I've been a supervisor for 21 of those. So, don't give up on people.
Oh, yeah, totally. Definitely
so let's listen to chapter 8 and 9.
Got you. See you in a bit.
Chapter 8. Deliver Us from Evil. When I look back, even I don't know why I did it. Suzanne called me long distance to tell me that I was acting out, rebelling against Mama and Daddy. And Ray just told me I was acting stupid. But honestly, I can't really recall my mindset. At the time, it just didn't seem all that bad. You're probably not buying that bit of hogwash. Wait until you hear the stupid thing I did. You and I have been together for a while now, so I'm not going to portray myself as innocent and naive. I did it because I wanted to, and because even though I didn't want to admit it, I got the biggest rush just thinking about it. That, of course, was before I landed my backside in jail. Up until now, Hank and I had been doing the high school sweetheart thing. The parents still didn't like him, and I still didn't care. Sometimes, just to get away, I'd borrow a friend's car and Hank and I would drive to his mom's place about 40 minutes away, just so we could be alone. We wouldn't really do anything. Yeah, I'm lying. We'd go to the movies and bowling, but we'd also incorporate hot, forbidden sex whenever we could. Once, I had to thoroughly clean that borrowed car inside and out. We gave a few truck drivers looking down from their rig into the car a thrill once in a while, too. Daddy was so funny the night of the prom. He and Mama grudgingly accepted that Hank and I were going to the prom together, as if it would be any other way. I went with Ray and got the most gorgeous dress, full length and gold with a halter top and a matching gold chiffon wrap. I must say, I looked hot. Hank looked amazing too, in his black tuxedo with a gold bow tie and cummerbund. We were an amazing looking couple, and everyone, and I mean everyone, thought so. So when Hank came to pick me up, Daddy called him into the basement for a few minutes. I checked to make sure Daddy had no weapons with him, and sure enough, they both came up a few minutes later. Hank had a bemused grin on his face, while Daddy just looked stern. I kept nagging at Hank to tell me what Daddy said, but he just replied, "That's between your father and me." We went to the prom but only stayed a few minutes. We'd reserved a room at the Hilton and we spent all night in bed, drinking champagne and making love. I was officially out of control. I didn't even get home until the next day. I wasn't sure what reception I'd get when I came to the door. Daddy was working, but Mama, tight-lipped, nodded to me, then went to her room. They never said anything else about the prom or asked where I'd been, or anything. I think that at that moment, they realized they needed to start treating me like a woman. I felt like a woman, sexually mature, ready to go out into the world and do my thing. I think I even felt I had God's approval. Yes, His approval, because He created me. High school sweethearts were supposed to grow up, become adults, ushering in a new phase of their lives. All of the teen romance stories in movies said as much. The prom was a rite of passage. When high school was over, I set my sights on community college. I would eventually transfer to nursing school once I was done with my prerequisites. I knew for sure by this time that nursing was my chosen field, and I was looking forward to the dorm life so I could continue having sex with Hank while I was learning. Community college was intense, and admittedly, not the typical college adventure had by my friends. Most of us couldn't wait to be clear of our parents, proving to the world that we were all grown up. So while I stayed close to home, Madison and Suzanne went to school out of state. Suzanne went to a historically black college and then planned to go to law school. All grown up and starting fresh at the local community college. Fortunately, I was still happy to be living close to Hank so I could continue doing the adult cha-cha. Unfortunately, Hank had become restless. Now, don't go there. It wasn't with me. Of that, I'm sure. But with his life, I think. He was rebuffed by all the people he had asked to invest in his gym. Some said he needed prior business experience or a degree in exercise physiology or health. Some just didn't bother to justify the no. He was crushed and his self-esteem and confidence suffered. But there was also disappointment that those he counted on didn't believe in him. He said it didn't matter, he'd think of another idea. But he stopped taking classes at the community college. I think many would suggest I should have seen the quitter in Hank. I should have seen that he was someone who couldn't take it when things got a little rough, or when circumstances didn't go his way. His expectations were unrealistic, and neither one of us was mature enough to realize it at the time. Why did he have to think of another idea? Youthful impatience can get you everywhere and nowhere. We never even thought to seek my father's advice or counsel. Another point worth mentioning here is how quickly Hank took on the attitude that his lack of success was because of others. I can see now that not having a relationship with God, even though he would go to church, hindered his emotional growth. A pattern of giving up, not pressing toward the goal, was set. So once he let go of the dream, set aside the goal, things quickly started to go downhill. He picked me up after my biology class one day, and I could immediately tell something wasn't quite right. "I lost my job," he said. He looked pretty distraught, even guilty. "Lost your job?" I repeated. It was no secret he wasn't crazy about the prospect of working to assemble aircraft seats day in and day out. But it did pay decent money, the kind of money you quickly get used to because of the things you were able to do and able to buy. Hank had been at that job for a couple of years, had always been on time, and got the job done with no complaints. A layoff, he said. 5 of us, but 4 had only been there for 6 months. I've been there for almost 2 years. Oh, baby, I empathized. It's gonna be all right. You'll get another job. Yeah, I guess, he agreed, looking at his shoes. I don't know if I told you, but a few weeks ago, me and Reese got into it at work for a bit. Reese was Hank's direct supervisor. What do you mean, got into it? I said slowly, watching him until he looked up at me. You know how he's always trying to tell me stuff? I told him I knew my job, and he better keep his mouth shut when he's around me, he said a bit defensively. Sounded like fighting words to me. Definitely not the kind of statement you make to the person who approves your timesheet. Oh, Hank, I couldn't help but laugh a little. I think we know why you got laid off. He looked ashamed for a minute and then he chuckled. Yeah, he agreed. I think we do. So, Marie, you know your birthday's coming up. Hank always went all out to make my birthday wonderful. I won't have any money to get anything for you, seeing as I don't have a job. That's okay, Hank, I don't need anything. But between you and I had priced out a gorgeous pair of 3-inch baby calf leather boots that I was hoping for. I want to get you something, but my credit cards are at their limit, he said. I know how I can still get you something, but I'll need your help. The plan sounded so simple. Nothing could go wrong. Near where Hank used to work, there's a small fast food restaurant. And although it's small, it's open late, and they have lots of hungry customers at night. I can pull it off, babe, he said. They'll get reimbursed through insurance, and everybody will be happy. Sounds like dialogue from a Hollywood movie. You know, like something right out of Bonnie and Clyde? Well, they killed people and we didn't do that. Or the more recent movie, Set It Off. They robbed banks and we didn't do that, but the adrenaline rush was probably the same. My immaturity allowed me to be influenced. We'd be outlaws for a night. For some reason, it seemed romantic, like we'd be closer to one another, taking the money and spending it lavishly the next day. So, I know what you're thinking. What didn't I have that was worth robbing for? Better yet, why would I be in favor of Hank doing something so wrong and potentially dangerous for so trivial a reason? Frankly, I'd be lying if I said I really didn't know. I went along with Hank too quickly because it wouldn't be the first time I stole. But the first time, it was only a pair of earrings, and I don't even know why I did it because I had money in my pocket. The night of the heist, Hank went into the restaurant, just as it was about to close. No customers were around. He had on a ski mask and pointed a gun at the cashier. She gave him the contents of the register, $400. He ran out of the store and down the street. Now my part. I was parked down the street from the restaurant. Once I saw him run out, I started the car and he dove in. We drove off immediately and got on the freeway. Hank sat low in the seat so he wouldn't be seen, and in between laughing and telling me not to speed, he recounted how smoothly everything had gone. The thrill was on, and I was excited and nervous. As we drove along the highway, a highway patrol car appeared suddenly behind us. I nearly peed in my pants right then. Hank said to be calm and change lanes to see if the cop would follow. I changed lanes and everything seemed fine, but I had to be sure. So I changed lanes again and my heart nearly stopped when the red lights of the patrol car turned on. Please pass me, please, God, I whispered. But no, the police car was right behind me. God saying no to my request, I guess. I pulled over to the emergency lane and sat in my seat with shaking hands. Just be cool, Marie, Hank said. The officer did the whole license and registration thing, then told me he'd stop me because I kept changing lanes without putting on my blinker. I glanced at Hank and barely restrained myself from hysterical laughter. The officer gave me a ticket, which I gladly accepted. The thought that I could even pay it with the money we stole made me almost crack up again. In hindsight, I should have felt some guilt, some remorse, for what Hank and I had just pulled off. Instead, I was exhilarated, contemptuous of the law. I mean, I wasn't even thinking of who might get hurt in all of this. God was conspicuously absent. Anyway, Hank and I made it home without further incident. I dropped him off at his house and promised to call later to go over how we were going to get through the next day and weeks ahead, knowing what we had done and any possible consequences. Again, I wasn't thinking of how getting caught would affect my family, or hell, even my and Hank's future. I had just done what was, in my mind, an incredibly sexy thing with the man I love, and was possibly going to get a pair of kick-ass calfskin boots out of the deal. All was quiet when I walked through the door. It was about 1 a.m., and Mama and Daddy were in their room. I could hear the TV, probably the honeymooners. Ray's door was closed, but I could see light under it and hear some soft sounds from her stereo. She was probably on the phone talking to Harold. I went into the kitchen to get some orange juice out of the refrigerator, grabbed a piece of cold chicken to nibble on, and headed up to my room. As soon as I closed the door to my room, the doorbell rang. My heart skipped several beats and I stood frozen, unable to move. I heard my parents' bedroom door open and knew my daddy was on his way to answer, probably with Mama right behind him. I hoped it was the neighbors having some issues, but felt the pressing weight of my stupidity gnawing at my conscience. God was whispering, "Now, Marie, you had to know it wasn't going to be that easy." The door opens. "I'm looking for Marie Hawkins," the police officer bellowed. Oh my God, I'm screwed. What have I gotten myself into? Marie to God. God, I don't know how to even approach you. I really screwed up. It's been so long since I've spoken to you. I guess that's why I'm in the mess I'm in. I'm so scared. They took me to jail, God. At least they didn't put handcuffs on me, but I had to walk in front of my crying mother, angry father, and stunned sister. As I walked out of the door to the police car, all I could hear was my mother asking, "What has she done, oh Lord?" The cops sat me in the police car and made me tell everything. They threatened to arrest my parents for harboring a criminal. I didn't know if they could legally do that, but I was scared out of my mind and just couldn't risk them handcuffing my mama, let alone my big, strong daddy, and hauling them off to jail. So I spilled my guts. I didn't think twice about Hank. All I could think about was keeping my family out of this mess I had made of things. We arrived at the police station and I immediately felt Hank's presence, although I couldn't see him. I felt bad about telling the cops about Hank, but figured they pretty much knew who masterminded the caper. In our haste to get me that fly pair of boots, we didn't think to thoroughly case the joint. So we missed the security camera that filmed Hank inside the restaurant, and the officers felt the hood of my car outside my parents' house to know that it had recently been driven. The policeman got my address for my license on the ticket when they stopped us for changing lanes without putting on my blinker. They put 2 and 2 together, and they found their crooks. Hank's in more trouble than I am. The cops say because he's 21 and actually did the job. He was even fool enough to use a gun. Use a gun, go to jail. We forgot about that too. Some simple plan. Oh God, I feel like I can't take a deep breath. My insides are just twisting, and I just can't see my way clear of this. I've done some stupid things in my life, God, but this one is the worst. Or at least pretty close. Is it because of him, God? The baby? Would you please forgive me, God? I don't want to live like this, a criminal, with a poor choice hanging over my head for the rest of my life. Well, after the hooping and hollering, I ended up staying in a holding cell overnight so they could process everything. In the morning, while I was just waking up, still grungy and stiff from sleeping in my clothes, the guards slid my breakfast to me through an opening at the bottom of the door. A doggy door. Really? Dry toast and eggs that I wasn't hungry enough to eat, delivered just like you deliver food to your dog. I felt stupid and humiliated. What was I thinking? If I could pick only one thing that solidified my mind to the fact that I would never risk breaking the law and going to jail again, it was when I received my breakfast under the door like a dog. Well, Daddy must have been the first one in line to post bail, and he took me straight home. It was the longest, most painful car ride of my entire life. Daddy, I tried to say, but it came out like a croak. Don't speak, Marie, he said simply. For the first time, I knew I couldn't make it right with him. When we got home, I bolted inside and ran upstairs to the bathroom, where I took a very long, very hot shower to wash off the smell of jail and regrets. Afterwards, wearing a robe with my hair still wet, and you know black girls don't usually do that, I crept down to the kitchen but stopped before I got to the door. Daddy, my strong, proud daddy, was sitting at the table. Mama standing next to him, cradling him against her, and he was weeping. Not just a stray tear, but heartbroken, despairing sobs. With shaky legs, I backed away to the living room and sat down in one of the fancy chairs. Never, I promised myself, would I cause him that kind of pain again. I'd make it up to him. Chapter 9. Forgive us our trespasses. They say that time heals all wounds. It sounds trite, but I guess that's why it's trite. It's said so much because there's truth in it. If you told me 9 months ago that we would have moved forward and recovered from my short-lived life of crime, I certainly would not have believed you. And yet, there I was, poised to end that chapter of my life. Daddy, my protector, called a friend of a friend who's a lawyer, who was eventually able to get my case dismissed. Hank wasn't so lucky. And of course, Daddy wasn't going to volunteer to help him out. And he got sentenced to 3 years, but only has to serve 18 months, which is almost over. Yay! I was finally ready to start the nursing program, where I could learn to help people instead of rob them. A little jailhouse humor. But seriously, I could have kissed my nursing career goodbye if my daddy hadn't helped me. A new chapter in Marie's life was on the horizon, and I was elated. I would be living away from home in a dorm when Hank got released. He could visit me, and we wouldn't have the reproachful eyes of my parents following us everywhere we went. I know. They did have a right to hate him for getting me in that mess, but what they didn't understand, or didn't want to understand, is that I got into it on my own. I could have said no. I probably could even have talked Hank out of it. But something about the thrill of pulling that off appealed to me, and doing it for my man. So I didn't blame Hank. Not one bit. And the crazy thing is, he didn't blame me for telling the cops about him either. In fact, when we were at the police station getting booked, I cried out to him, "I'm so sorry, Hank!" And he looked at me with loving eyes. "It's okay, baby," he said as they began to lead him away. "You did the right thing." In a strange way, this whole experience brought us even closer. I mean, how many couples do you know who went through a robbery and arrest together, or some other intense drama-filled adventure? It was a real bonding experience. Even afterward, it was really hard being without him. I missed smelling him. When I visited him in prison, he had that scent of a man who didn't spend enough time outside, who didn't have the healthy sweat of playing basketball with his boys at the rec center for hours. I missed lovemaking. I so missed that. A year is a long time once you've gotten used to that kind of passion. Because of that, I may have slipped up a time or two while he was away. However, I made sure I was careful and safe, and frankly, I needed that release to keep me sane. So, really, I was doing it for Hank. Think he'd buy that? Oh, come on! You don't really think he would have been faithful to me if the tables were turned, do you? Don't get me wrong, I don't think he got any action in prison. At least I certainly hope not. But there had been a few times prior to the prison stint that I've had a sense that Hank was stepping out a little. But whenever that happened, I just went to a catalog I have and keep well hidden and ordered up a little something edible for me to wear. And before you knew it, Hank was following me like my cha-cha was the meal, and he was a starving man. God has really come through for me this time. Soon, nursing school will begin. Hank will be out, and our lives will get back on track. And I can't wait.
All right, so we just listened to chapter 8 and 9. If you want to listen to this later, chapter 8 was like 17 minutes long, and chapter 9 was 3 minutes. So you can fast forward it if you want to go to Leighton and I's commentaries.
That's what they're here for. Let's jump into it. What are we talking about?
Okay. So when we broke the law, I said we broke
Okay.
the law. Both of us landed in jail overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to share with everybody is that the worst part of that was disappointing my parents was one. And then the other thing was that they slid my breakfast under the door like I was a dog.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
I was horrified by that. That would make me never ever want to make any mistakes at all and go to jail again because that was terrible. So I wanted to share those things because I also know when I look back at my life, why did I make those choices now that I'm over 50? Why did I do that? Why didn't I even agree to do something like that? Because, okay, like you find it funny, but I do want to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just go through it.
Well, you did. That's why in the beginning you talked about all the accolades you made, like, you know.
Yeah, and I have those things, but at the same time, when I look back, at 19 years old, first of all, my brain wasn't fully formed, so I wasn't thinking.
You always have an excuse.
It's true.
Oh my gosh! At 19, my prefrontal cortex wasn't developed yet, and I was going through something. My mom was mad at me at that particular day. It was a Wednesday night.
Truth of the matter is, my brain was not fully formed at 19. You don't agree with that?
That's fine. I'm just saying everything is
all right,
something.
So my brain wasn't fully formed. Not only that, my parents were very, very strict, very strict. And I think that makes a difference when we make choices to whether we're going to be strict, lenient, in between, compassionate, care. I think there's a bunch of ways we can be as parents, which is what made me make the choices to be more real with you, because they were so strict with me. And I think it pushed me more towards your father. Not only the sex and the other stuff I've talked about, but the fact that they were so strict made me feel like it was me and him against the world, that type of attitude. Mm-hmm. And then along with the music that I was listening to at that time, and, you know, you overcome and how you do, and, you know, you just get all lovey-dovey, romantic, and it sounds crazy to want to be Bonnie and Clyde, but that was the influences we had back then. So
I think there's another conversation about, I mean, guys and girls, but girls, for whatever reason, have this like fantasy, this infatuation of projects when they're little, wanting bad boys and fixing them up. And
yeah, I didn't have that kind.
I don't know.
You're right.
Well, even if you don't want to fix them up, that's what you want. Nobody wants a square. There's been so many people that men, like, well, first of all, when they're younger, they're like called squares, or they're positive and they're nice and they're polite and they have manners and they treat women, you know, this way. They never call them out of the name, whatever. Mm-hmm. They don't get paid attention to at all.
Yeah.
They're looked at as nerds, squares, you're lame, like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, and then
the bad boy will say whatever. At first. I didn't.
I know, I'm just saying.
I didn't like him at first. And he was.
I'm saying you said you don't know why you wanted this Bonnie and Clyde kind of fantasy, but that's, I think, a lot of people when they're young, they just think they can get away with stuff.
Yeah.
Or they just want to, it's not fun to be good. It's just not.
Yeah.
For a lot, I'm just saying, for
Maybe.
most people, how they think it's not fun to be good. It's corny to be positive and be nice, whatever.
That could be part, but I know myself. And really what I know what I was going through was just crazy love, and the music.
Yeah, but why can't you love and be positive? Why can't you love and go to the library then? It's not fun. That's corny to go and learn and be chill, or just go.
If you think I would have committed a robbery if he had not approached me with that.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, but you still did it though. Like, the love made you do it, but you still would have done it anyways. Like, why can't you just be in love and not do that and go to the beach?
Because
it's not exciting after a while.
We did go to the beach.
No, okay, well, all right.
All I'm saying is, if he had not come up with the idea, because he ran up his credit cards and seeing for me and my logical brain, see, that's why I say 19, your brain is not fully formed, because at 19, you ran up your own credit cards. Mm-hmm. Why should I risk my life and my career potential for you running up your credit cards?
Yeah, but okay, so that part I'll say is the love and passion made you do that because you cared. Yeah. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, you still, you didn't have to do that.
Of course not. Well, anyway, I shared with you about a week or two ago that one of my gifts, and I know it's yours too because I can tell, is mercy. And when people hurt, then I hurt with them. Now I'm more mature, my brain is more formed, so I can make different decisions. But because that's my God-given gift, when your father came to me and I knew he was hurting, my natural intention, because that's my natural given gift, mercy, was to figure, okay, how can we fix this? I'm like that all the time. It don't matter what you're going through. If you're trying to figure it out, that's my natural God-given gift, to figure out what can we do to fix it. And you know that about me.
Yeah, you're definitely a fixer, but sometimes you're the one who broke him in the first place. But okay, not in this specific situation. Sorry if that's not a harsh everybody, but I'm just saying. Sometimes sometimes you fan the flames, and then you try and come with the fire extinguisher and be like, "Oh, what's going on over here?"
Why you burning to a crisp?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
and then
I
you
don't.
try and pull him out like you were the hero. Like,
No.
I'm the one who got lit on fire. But anyways, sorry.
Whatever. Anyway, the reasons that I felt like it was a fun crime were the things that I said. It was
fun crime.
It was.
I see it.
Fun.
This is what I told you a few minutes ago. It's exciting. It's not cool to go and just be at the house.
Yeah, well, but yeah, I got that part of my brain, but when I think about it, like I won't bungee jump, or I won't do that type of excitement. So this type of excitement it was very risky.
Yeah, because it's bad. That's what I'm saying. Risky is bad.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with that because you have your right to your opinion. So I will not argue with that. But I do feel like my parents being too strict was an issue for me because it made me want to go.
Yeah, but see that, okay, so now since you said that, let me expand on that then. Your parents being strict in combination with meeting dad obviously made it more acceptable, because being like good, positive, whatever, like, Miss Goody Two Shoes is like more towards your parents, and that was, you got flooded with that throughout your whole life, and so now you get something new. That's why it's more attractive to do it the other way, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying for everyone it's not cookie cut, that's the same thing. I'm just saying that's why preachers' kids and like people who like, go to private school or whatever, like who wants that? Like nobody wants that.
True.
Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that, because people who are doing bad for a long time usually still want to, they just keep doing bad.
And there are some
so I'm just saying, all I'm saying is it's way easier to go bad than it is to be good. True. I mean, to go good, like from switching over.
That's
if
true.
you're doing the opposite, not to be good, but like to go from being bad to being good.
And it's more appealing.
It's easier to just be bad.
I agree. I agree with that. What I will say, though, is your grandmother was the one that when you got into that bad fight at school, it was bad, y'all. It was bad. Where's the camera? Oh, he beat the boy to a pulp. And let me tell you, if you have kids that fight, if they kick the person after they on the ground, that's a felony. Just in case. I didn't know. But
yeah, just giving the details. Anyways,
well, the reason why
if we're gonna give the details, the reason why it happened was we had an issue a year before. Actually, I'm not even gonna say we. He had an issue with me the year before in 7th grade, and my mom pulled me out, not because of that, because of my grades. Yeah. And then I begged to go back the next year, and when I went back, he, for whatever reason, still had the issue with me. Was saying some racist stuff. Yeah. N-word this and whatever. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was like, okay, we'll meet. I'll see you. Yeah. And then I saw him, and that's what happened. And then I learned some things too from watching some things online and learning and practicing and training. So anyway,
if your kids get into a fight, make sure they don't kick the kid after they already fell on the ground. Now, I'm telling you because I didn't know. And Layton's grandmother was the one that said, look, Toy, don't let him get a felony.
People know it's a problem.
Do?
You can't be doing that. Like, people know.
I didn't know.
But I'm just saying, well, even if you hit someone a certain way, it's an issue. Like, it's worse than...
Well, okay.
All I'm saying is, I'm not saying to do it, actually. Don't do it. I'm just saying, when you're in a rage, how are you going to tell somebody to think about, don't do this specific, like, it happened.
True. That's true. It did
I feel bad about it. I'm not trying to say that, I just saw red. I did, but I feel bad about it is what I'm trying to say.
And you did. And the only thing I'm saying, though, is I did not know as a parent that it was against the law or make you have a higher charge.
I'm trying to talk to the camera like you talking to the parents. The parents, they don't even know what's going
on the floor.
Well, he had it coming to him.
He looked so nice and innocent, but let me tell y'all. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I must have got that from you because everybody was, I can never see that. I'm like, wait until you meet the other side. Nobody, everybody who's met it never comes back. Yeah. So, I don't even know what we're talking about, this chapter, whatever. I don't even know. I don't know how it got over here, but.
Okay. Anyway, I love you for that because you always keep me laughing, and I think that helps me stay younger because you keep me laughing. So he got pulled over for some bogus. They wanted to pull him over, probably being black, driving in our suburbs. I don't know.
No,
Okay, well, what happened?
Okay, so the cop so first of all, I was doing a favor for my best friend at the time. His older brother cleaned pools, and he didn't have a car. So he needed me to take him to 2 or 3 houses for the day and, just get him there, clean the pools. He's going to pay me some gas money, pay me whatever for driving him. That was it. Easy. So he puts all his pool equipment in my car. We go to the first house, does it real fast. We leave, go to the next house. We're on the way to the next house. A cop pulls us over. I'm not sweating it at all. I'm like, I don't have anything. I didn't do anything, whatever. Probably window tint. I've got this in trouble for this before. Yeah. It was window tint, and he said it was too dark. And I was like, I understand, fix it, ticket, whatever. I was being cool. We were talking, whatever. And Chris, well, actually, I already said it anyway. He's in the passenger seat, and he's sweating because the cop is pulling us over, obviously for tint, but he's sweating for whatever reason, just talking to the police. And the police senses that, and he's kind of like, what's going on with your friend, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, like, it's making me nervous now. I'm like, what's going on? I'm chilling. Mm-hmm. And anyways, he's like, all right, you guys have a good day. And he keeps looking at him for some reason. He's like, nah, you sure? You sure he's fine? Your buddy looks a little weird. Mm-hmm. And then he said, the dude was like, oh, it's sorry, I just get nervous around police. I was like, why would you say that? Anyways, the cop was like, all right, no, it's fine. I'm going to go ahead. You mind if I search your car? I was like, go for it. I wasn't even tripping. I was like, go, look, I don't have anything. So he goes to the passenger side first. And before I even get over to that side, I get out of my car and I hear, oh, does your friend know about this? Talking about me. And I was like, do I know about what? And he's like, oh, he has a rig. He has a lighter. He has some heroin in his, he was hiding it in the pump, the pool pump or something. And I wanted to knock him out right there. Like, it was the most, it was so embarrassing, infuriating. Like, we got pulled over. Mind you, I'm 18, and we got pulled over right in front of Chino Hills High School, where I know everybody there. I didn't attend there. I was homeschooled, but I was pulled over right there, and it was around 2 o'clock. So all the parents were lined up, about to pick their kids up for the day. And I'm sitting there on the curb, handcuffed. One of my friend's moms recognized me on the curb, and she's looking at, Lena, are you okay?
My God.
Whatever. My mom's in Mexico partying, living life.
No, I was in Catalina.
Whatever you were at, I don't know. But yeah, so that was embarrassing. But anyways, it was for window tint, and he was gonna let me go because he was like, well, I can tell you're a good kid. You clearly didn't know that he had this. And then he searched my side of the car, found the self-defense weapon that you had gotten me. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you lied to me. Like, you said that you didn't have anything, whatever, and then that was an issue. I was like, dude, I haven't even used that thing. I honestly forgot it was there because I don't use it. And it was still, so it was true. Yeah. But anyways, like, it probably looked sketchy that he had something, I had something, a weapon, something. And then I lied about it. So anyways, that happened. So, yeah.
So I didn't know. I was innocently bought him something as a self-defense. So be careful, because that could have been a big problem had he kept the felony on after the fight and then had this arrest. I did get a good attorney, and, fortunately I could afford it, but everybody can't afford it, and that's just how fast things happen. He's a good guy, and really it was me who bought the self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to blame her too. When he was arresting me, I was like, oh, my mom bought this. I don't even know what the...
Anyway, so I was in Catalina Island. I posted bail over the phone. I didn't live it up after you told me I'm being arrested, Mom.
No, yeah, I know.
I did not live it up after that.
And mind you, not only did I get arrested in front of the high school, but it was the day before prom. And
Oh, God.
I literally spent the night in jail. And then when I got out at 5 in the morning, I had to go to prom. Wow. Well, I actually didn't even think I was going to make it because I got arrested on a Thursday. And it was possible that I would have to stay through the weekend because it was like right on the cusp of Friday. Mm-hmm. And so I might have had to stay until Monday. And I was like, no, that's not happening. But luckily I got out on time, early Friday morning. Oh. And then we had to do all the party bus stuff and all that stuff. So I barely made it. But yeah, that was not fun at all.
At which arrest did I spend the night in front of the place? I spent the night at one of them. I think that's why.
What do you mean? What arrest? I ain't been arrested like that.
Oh, one time?
Yeah, one time.
Oh, well, whatever one time I was, I spent the night in front of the place. You know I did.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, but that was the time then, because
I spent the night in front of the prison, and I think that's what happens when I say, remember where you came from, because I remember how supportive, even though I got in trouble, my parents were. So important to be supportive of your children, because things happen just on a whim sometimes, and you can make their whole life worse. I couldn't have become a nurse had my father not gotten my case dismissed, and Layden could have had problems in life had his case not been. He won the cases and doesn't have any convictions on his record, by the way. But I'm just encouraging parents, don't give up on your kids, because both of us are sitting here talking to you because we've made it. We survived. We're okay, and we're helping other people.
Going back full circle, though, also, when you said earlier, when you were talking about don't give up on people, you said it right now, too, but going back all the way around, when you said, remember where you came from, I think it affected you in a certain way. Well, I know it affected you in a certain way because of all the things you had to go through with Dad being in and out.
Yeah.
And the one time that I got in trouble, it was like, that was probably really scary for you, or some sort of PTSD or kind of like memories where it's like, I didn't want to see that. I remember when they let me out, they released me. It was like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
They gave me my phone back, my original clothes, and then I just started walking. I don't know where you were. I just started walking. I'll call you later. I'll figure it out. I just wanted to get away from there. And when you're in there, they dress you in, and they give you your jumpsuit, whatever. They write on your hands, like you're literally just a number. Like you're just, they write on, like, number 456, whatever. Like they have numbers on your hands so they can tell who you are. Mm-hmm. And then your last name on the other hand, I think. And I remember when I started walking, you picked me up. Mm-hmm. I felt, your headlights coming up behind me. Mm-hmm. I turned around and it was you. And then I get in the car, obviously, and you were upset looking at the writing on my hands. You said, wipe that off. And I think that was something that was probably hard for you to see because, I mean, I don't know if you've been through that exact situation with Dad, but I know that's what they do for everyone as far as who gets, put in and then released. They don't, shower you out or anything. It's just get out. All right. So, I say that because I think it's important for people to, don't forget where you come from, and also don't give up on people because we all have, mistakes that we're going to make, and some are big mistakes, some are smaller ones, some have, big consequences, and some are just kind of, all right, well, I won't do that again. Right. But no matter the circumstance, it's important to, be humble and carry yourself a certain way and make sure that you're actually learning from these experiences instead of reliving them again, because it's a hard cycle to break once you get in there.
True. All right, well, we're going to end there. Then I think we sort of expressed the criminal aspect and not giving up on people. That is so important because they are good people that get into good trouble or bad trouble.
Good trouble. See, I told you she was having fun doing that. She said fun crime in the beginning. Don't forget that. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure you said it was a fun crime.
I don't even fault your father for having gotten into as many different problems as he did, because everybody has their own story to tell. And everybody's asking me, are you going to ever interview Hank? He's Hank in the book, but that's Layden's father. That's my ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend. We had a long history of dating, and yes, we are. He's going to come on the show at some point, and he'll talk to you about his own issues for himself.
His own. Okay, sorry. I thought that was funny.
So,
I'll talk about his own issues.
you can always purchase my book at www.powertripthebook.com. And also,
Oh, yep. That's the phone lines, folks. They're trying to get these shirts. They hot off the press. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
no, I'm not done.
What?
We said we were going to thank our friends. Those are the people behind the scenes.
All right. Thank them.
All right, so I want to thank Martha Lovax, Valerie Tatum, Kimberly Mosley at work. I want to thank Angela Stamps, Irene Karani, Phaedra Harp, and Cleo and Cecile. Thank you so much for your comments and for your support and for always keeping me laughing.
I didn't even know we were doing the shout out. So, but off the top of my head, for sure, my wife being number one, always being in my corner, pushing me, positive energy. Bedros Cooling, my business mentor, excuse me. He's helped me immensely. And then of course my mother here, who holds me down all the time and, you know, hosts this show and does such an incredible job and everything she does. So shout out to those three people.
Yay, thank you.
All right.
So one thing I want to say before we go, another thing I want to say is that Layton has his own YouTube channel. I am being a proud mother right now, but Layton has his own YouTube channel. It's called Say LA, and I want you to check it out. If you have young kids, he's given some really great comments for some helpful lessons for them to as they're growing up. They may need a mentor, somebody that's just that they feel cool listening to. You will have to help them subscribe. Layton thinks it's so easy, but I have a master's degree.
The parents will be the kids will be helping their parents know how to subscribe. I'm telling you, 6, 7-year-olds know how to subscribe to YouTube channels. Yeah.
Okay,
it's downloaded in their DNA. Way younger than us.
Open the YouTube app.
Okay, first of all, okay, all right.
Sign into YouTube.
You don't always have to have the YouTube app.
You
people
don't?
use it on their laptops. People use it on their Safari on their phones.
I didn't. Did y'all? Look,
so, anyways,
people
Say LA is a YouTube channel. That's all you need to know. Thank you if you tune in. I appreciate it.
All right, we appreciate everybody for listening.
Yes. Now you want to cut me off. When I want to say something, then you want to cut the episode off. Nah. All right. Now I'm talking now. Okay. All right.
We appreciate you for listening. And thank you to those of you who have subscribed. We appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. It really does make a difference to YouTube. And we are going to make changes in this world. So hang in there with us. Thank you for everything.
All right, guys. Thank you.